You're locked into Inception Radio Network, Superior, Wisconsin.
Your radio host for Pang Radio, Mike Lucas.
Welcome everybody to Pang Radio. Tonight is the winter solstice, December 21st, 2014, Sunday night. Welcome to our show. We got a good one in store for you tonight. Chase Kloetzke is joining us. She's an independent researcher, author. Chase, she's investigating all the realms of ufology and in skulls and Bigfoot. I mean, she's going to be a great show. She's all over the U.S. doing investigations with different groups, and she's going to be really, really good to talk to. She was on IRN a few years ago, had a show with us, but I mean, she's great. Can't wait to have her on here in a second. And my co-host Ken is here with me. How you doing, Ken?
Hey, I'm doing fine, and welcome everybody, and I hope our chat listeners get their fingers warmed up because this, as MJ said, this is going to be an interesting show. It's going to be an open forum. Mm-hmm. We're going to start out and see where it leads, and hopefully our listeners will chime in and direct the conversation, but this is going to be good. Chase is a good investigator. I think we're going to find this very interesting.
We'll definitely open the lines, too, tonight if you want to call in 888-919-2355. If you have a question for Chase, you can definitely call in, and she will answer any questions, too. So we'll even open the lines tonight, Ken, and just have a lot of fun with this.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited, as a matter of fact. She's a good researcher. She's a good investigator, and I think that our listening audience will find the information that she has not only interesting but useful. So sit down, turn the volume up, and get involved, folks.
There you go.
That's what it's all about.
Ken, you got any shout-outs tonight?
I do, as a matter of fact. I want to say, I want to have a shout-out to George and Patty. I know you guys are listening, and we really had a good time. We went down to Branson, Missouri over the weekend and had a really, really good time. Saw some really good shows, and I know that Mindy and Larry are tuning in, and that goes for Chance. And Doug, I know you're up there in Hartsville, Missouri, so chime in your questions, and looking forward to the show.
Definitely, and I'd like to shout out to my favorite other mother, Deborah Anderson in Duluth, Minnesota, and my buddy, good, great family friends, Jeff and Julie Kantarek, listening to us out at Lake Amnicon, Wisconsin. Nice little lake, big muskie in that lake. Ken, I've seen some.
Yeah.
Never caught one, but I'll tell you, I've had a few big logs come up to the pontoon when we've been out on it, so fun fishing out there.
Yeah, I've caught a couple of muskies, and they definitely got a set of teeth on them that will get your attention. And I got one more shout out, and that's to Lorna Hunter of the Pig. I know she's tuned in, and Lorna, I know you're getting ready for some snow, girl, but you hang in there.
That's what I just read. We're going to get some good snow here for 3 days up north here. So
I think so. You're going to have a white Christmas, buddy.
Oh yeah, we are definitely. And next week we will be off the air because we're going to celebrate the festivities with Christmas and New Year's. But Ken, we do have Nancy Talbot coming back for a question and answer session, so you can get that notebook out on our January 4th show. So you can get that notebook out and just hit her up with all the questions, and listeners can...
I'm looking at the questions as we speak, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So she's going to be talking about, we're going to hit her up with some scientific questions, and then we're also going to, ask her more about Robert Van Brocken. I forget his name, but Robert, the one that can predict the...
Holland.
In Holland, yep, in crop circles. So we're definitely going to have questions for him, too. We may get him on the air. I haven't confirmed that with Nancy, but there also could be a fourth edition of that if we got him on for a fourth show, so definitely could get right to the roots of how he's able to predict crop circles and see people's spirits and ghosts and all that kind of jazz. Could be pretty cool there.
I think so.
Ken, that was an interesting email you sent me this week too, with the Bigfoot sightings.
Yeah, I didn't realize, but in doing further research, Pennsylvania is leading the country right now in the number of Bigfoot sightings. I found that kind of interesting, and they dropped off a little bit in the Pacific Northwest. So I don't know what that means, if it means anything at all. Maybe there's not as many people out in the woods, or having those chance encounters. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting segment I sent you. I found that, and that came from Lorna also. So appreciate that, Lorna. Keep us posted.
Yeah, I was looking there too. There wasn't many reports in Wisconsin, so it's pretty quiet over here. Didn't see.
Well, he's out there.
She's
out there.
Yeah, she or he. And like I said, I have a little bit of a hot spot too. Witness claiming to see a bipedal creature too, probably about 30 miles south of here. I've been out to the property a few times, Ken. Haven't came across anything, but I'm not saying there isn't anything out there. It's a perfect environment with he's right along a river, so there's access to water and a lot of berries and fish, trout in there, and I mean there's definitely sources.
And since my encounter in western Pennsylvania a number of years ago with the Oklahoma UFO Paranormal team, I have really educated myself on the phenomena. And I've learned a lot. And in fact, when I go into the woods now, there are things that I look for that I probably saw in the past, but did not realize what it was that I was looking at. So I'm a little bit more tuned in, if you will.
Was Chase out there for that investigation with you?
No, she was supposed to come, and through circumstances beyond her control, she missed it, and unfortunately, because I would have loved to have had her there just to experience what went down. But and we'll get into that tonight.
Cool.
We can go down any road we want. So, and she's agreeable to talk about anything and everything. So this ought to be interesting.
I think you came on her show that following week, and you kind of released the news of you seeing that.
I want to say I did. I don't recall if it was live or if it was taped, but I did. I basically went on her show and told exactly how it went down and what transpired.
And you haven't heard anything back about that area, seeing any type of creatures?
No, I have. We got a report of now this is kind of interesting. A creature bipedal was seen about 30 miles from where I had my encounter. Down by Du Bois, Pennsylvania. And what was interesting is that it was a up-close personal encounter like mine, but this individual said the creature had a face like a dog, had a long pointy nose and a face that resembled a canine, which I found kind of interesting.
That's interesting too, because there have been reports of a dog man in the southern part of Wisconsin here too.
Yeah, you beat me to the draw there, MJ, and I was going to make that inference that there have been reports up there in the north about a dog man type creature. Whether or not it's related, whether or not it's similar, I have nothing to add to that other than the fact that I found it kind of interesting that it had a similar description.
Very cool. Okay, Ken, I'm ready. I'm going to tell everybody a little about Chase, read off her bio here. Chase earned her master trainer, master instructor title while employed with the Department of Defense. Armed with a biomechanical engineer accreditation, she was responsible for designing specialized programs and supervision of complete success regarding force readiness, unique mission responsibilities, and elite force protection. Wow, that is great. This was achieved by understanding the goals and requirements placed on physical and mental strength assignments, which are demanded and expected of today's active duty members and civilian anti-terrorist units. She joined the Mutual UFO Network in 1996 and was selected as the STAR Team Manager and Deputy Director of Investigations through 2011. She was responsible for the program design, protocols, and investigation procedures for a national rapid response unit. This included supervision of most experienced investigators and access to most sensitive and complex cases reported to MUFON. She also is an author. She does a show called, where are we there? We'll go down a little bit there. Encounters, and she's on with Mac Maloney, Peter Robbins, Richard Dolan. So she's really into this, and she had a good experience too, Ken, too, that while she was with MUFON too. She may tell the listeners about that too. That was a...
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can get her to talk a little bit about what happened to her. I think it was in Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken, in which she had a close encounter with a extraterrestrial being.
She sure did. So
her and I've talked about that, and we'll see if like I said, we'll go wherever she wants, and she told me that she'll answer any and all questions, and if we go to a place where she doesn't want, she'll tell us. So.
Oh, definitely, and we already have a question from Bill from New York. Let me throw that in the chat window there too, so we don't lose that one. Let's see there. There we go.
Hello.
Good evening, Chase. It's been a while. Good to hear your voice.
You too, MJ. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Not too bad. Things are good.
That is good.
Hey.
Ken's here too with me.
Yeah, Chase, thanks for coming on tonight. We appreciate it.
Darling, what's up?
Hey, girl. And we were telling our listeners that this was going to be an open type forum, question and answer, and wherever the discussion goes, that's where we're going to take it. And is that okay with you?
Perfect.
Right on. Hey, you're located in Atlanta or in Georgia, right?
Yes, I'm in Southeast Georgia.
Southeast Georgia. And so let's just start off with the fact that being down there close to Florida, and there's been a number of sightings concerning a bipedal creature. Have you had any additional information in regards to that?
No, the swamp ape is usually what's reported in this area, and he's really described more ape-like versus what a Bigfoot is typically. He's shorter. He definitely has more monkey features. And of course, there's the stories of a circus quite a while ago that actually lost its animals. So we're not really too sure about what's going on with the Florida skunk ape. But I do live right here and in my backyard. As you know, Ken, I have, there's a dock, and right out are the Golden Isles. And I can see Jekyll Island and St. Simon's Island. But there's a very, very popular cryptid here, and his name is Alti. And he looks very much like the same type of water cryptid as you see in Loch Ness and Lake Champlain. And he's known, been reported back with the Altamaha Indians, pre-Columbian. So he's quite the fixture here. He's called the Darien Sea Monster.
The Darien Sea Monster.
Never heard of it.
Literally 2 miles from my house, the hottest sighting.
Girl,
Cool.
look out.
Cool.
I know. I'm like, thank friggin' goodness I've moved to an area with something going on.
Right. Well, you bring up an interesting aspect on the skunk ape, Bigfoot, Yeti, Sasquatch, swamp monster, and that is, and I truly believe this, and I say this in conjunction with what happened to me in Western Pennsylvania, but I think what a lot of people are seeing down in Alabama, southern Texas, Mississippi, Florida, and probably in southern Georgia is that I think there's been a number of primates that have either been turned loose or escaped as a result of hurricane. When Hurricane Andrew came through, I think the Miami Zoo lost most of their primates.
They sure did, and not to have them recovered.
Right. And that's I mean, you live in that area, you know that environment in that pardon the pun, neck of the woods, would support primates. They would be perfectly able to adapt to the Everglades, to the type of climate and the terrain that occurs down there. So I think that a lot of what people are seeing. In fact, there was a picture, if you recall, that was circulating on the internet of a woman that took a picture of supposedly Bigfoot going through a Dipsy dumpster. And when I looked at it, I thought it was an orangutan.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's really very popular here. Even the footprint of the Florida swamp ape is it looks more primate than it does, like the cast that you have. And, that's one of the best Bigfoot stories I've ever heard. And I was on the phone with you, 10 minutes after this event?
Oh, hell, I think it was within minutes after it happened, because you were supposed to have been there on that investigation.
Yes, but to hear it firsthand, seriously, minutes after it happened was very, very epic, because again, I can corroborate, the story hasn't changed, just how you were crazy, friggin' hysterical. It was awesome.
Are you saying that that I was out of control? Well, you know what? I think I was.
You were so stunned, and it was really fun, Ken, because you didn't believe in Bigfoot in any way, shape, or form. In fact, we had conversations about it.
Well, you know what? I have told people that, and of course, they kind of turn their back and roll their eyes and everything. But it's true. We had talked a year or so before that, and it was just a passing conversation. And I made mention of the fact that I've been all over the United States, into Puerto Rico, Guam, Southeast Asia, Alaska, and I'm an outdoors person. I'm not somebody that sits behind the desk. And I don't mean that negatively, but my personality is I have to be outside. And I had not seen anything. Now, looking back on some of these things, Chase, I have since been educated, because I was ignorant of the facts concerning Bigfoot or Yeti. I probably saw some things, but I didn't know what I was looking at. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, if I were to go back now, 15, 20 years ago, in some of the territory that I had been camping in and hunting in, I probably saw some things that would indicate to me that there was another creature in the woods besides deer and elk and bear and mountain lions that I'm accustomed to seeing. And
but you have a huge background in hunting, and it's just your lifestyle. This is something you're very comfortable with out in the woods. So
True.
Someone like me, little girl from Rhode Island, I'm out in the thick of Kentucky woods near the coal mines, and I hear a twig snap. My heart's pounding, and I'm like, and I know, guys, it's most likely a raccoon, but that moment, I live for that moment. It's like, whoa. It's like,
and
you bring up
it. Well, you bring up an interesting point, is that a lot of sounds that people hear, I've heard recordings of the Bigfoot whoop, wood knocking, some other communication aspects of it. And I can't specifically go back in my memory and say, well, I heard something that I didn't recognize. But the woods does make a lot of strange sounds, and especially at night.
Yeah, I love it. And, like you, the times I'm in the woods, the kind of terrain that we would expect a Bigfoot creature to do well in, I'm only there on that specific agenda, but I love it. I hear a whoop like that, I'm freaking out excited. And I haven't. That's the one thing I haven't. I have not seen a Bigfoot.
I think I am blessed in the aspect of that was probably once in a lifetime encounter, given the number of times I spend and the amount of time that I spend outdoors. Oh, yeah. And yet, like I said, I started reading about some of the encounters, and there's been people driving down the highway and seeing this thing run across a 4-lane highway, for crying out loud. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be out there eating pine cones and chasing squirrels to have an encounter.
I love chasing squirrels.
Yeah, they like to hide their nuts. I know that. Hey, Chase, we were keeping it open, and we've got a question from Billy in New York. And as they come in, it may change the direction, as this one will.
I love it.
But yeah, like I said, it's open forum, so we're going to run with the ball as it's been tossed. And he says, MJ, with your background in defense, do you think that our government should create a new division strictly for anti-cyber terrorism? That's kind of an interesting subject.
Was that for me or MJ?
I think that was for Chase. I think it must have copied MJ when I pulled it from the chat.
Yeah, that is for Chase.
It's
for Chase. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Absolutely. Cyber terrorism, the threats that come from our internet, and I believe it's where we're most vulnerable. And I speak for myself. I have a computer problem, and nothing puts me on a ledge faster than that. I am ready to jump. I have no idea how to fix these things. You would think, especially as a ufologist, I would have been doing this forever, but I've just learned to go onto the internet, through onion sites and only using Tor. I mean, it's not, I don't use the same internet anymore as I used to, but I just got here, guys. That's how slow I am on figuring this stuff out. But yes, absolutely, the government and the military needs a cyber terrorism unit. What I fear is, again, to what extent, as long as they're fighting back. We know that there are units within NSA, CIA, every alphabet's got, a cyber counterterrorism unit just to hit these hacking. But, I was a little embarrassed when, North Korea could put us on our knees over a friggin' movie.
Oh, yeah.
And, rattling these sabers across it. We're going to shut your electrical grid down because we can. And, we're going to, bomb you guys like 9/11. It's kind of one of those moments where it's like too soon. Yeah, North Korea, a little too soon to keep bringing up 9/11. So I do think that they should have one. However, I do suspect that almost, like I said, every alphabet agency has a unit that I know of now, at least.
Well, that leads us into an area that I am fascinated with and I know very little about. And that is the cyber space, as it's referred to, or cyber warfare now. But I watched both movies of The Matrix. Okay, and that's and I'm sorry, but that's the part that Hollywood has influenced my image of cyberspace, and I just learned that they being NASA sent a email to the space station, and through a printer, 3D printer, they made a ratchet that they were able to use to do some repairs on the space station. Instead of actually sending a ratchet wrench, they sent it through the email.
Yeah, I love this. I have to tell you, the first thing I want to say about that is, where's my friggin' food replicator if we could do that already? Because that would make this housewife's job a lot easier. But
that's interesting, because that was Star Trek. I mean, they would go to the replicator and get drinks and food and stuff. And, you think about it, that's what that 3D printer basically is doing, is replicating a wrench. I guess you can build a gun. Somebody was telling me that you can build a firearm using a 3D. That's incredible. I mean, you think about it. And there is another form of that could be, given the right know-how and technicalities on it, that cyber terrorism, cyber warfare. If you can create a ratchet, what else can you create?
Exactly. And the other thing about the cyber terrorism, or the latest threats from North Korea, what my opinion is? We just weren't looking, guys. It kind of reminds me of, when Pakistan tested a nuclear weapon. Some guy was sitting at the CIA going, oh, crap, how the F did we miss that? And they're all scrambling. Like, they were so focused on, other countries, all of a sudden here's Pakistan. And so I'm thinking that this whole thing with Korea hacking Sony, we have defenses. We have counter programs. I think this wasn't something we need to worry about as a country or national defense. I think somebody just wasn't paying attention. These big corporations get hacked all the time, but I think it was the rhetoric or the audacity of a country to openly hit us because they didn't like something we were putting out. So
I was going to interject here real quick, and this is something that very, very, very few people either don't realize, they certainly don't talk about it, and that is we're technically still at war with North Korea. All we did was sign an armistice, which means, okay, I won't shoot at you today, but that doesn't mean that the war is not still going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. People don't realize that.
No, it's just an armistice, okay? And so for North Korea to do this is not a real surprise, at least not to me. And I can't imagine that somebody in the Defense Department would be overly surprised that North Korea did a howdy doody on the internet for all practical purposes.
Worst friggin' brats in the world of attention. Every time there's something big going on that truly needs the attention, North Korea starts kicking its feet. Nobody's paying attention to us. Like, hello. It does crack me up. I have to laugh sometimes, although I think this is where some of our biggest problems are, those little areas where we're not paying attention. I believe that was 9/11. All of a sudden, we're pulling planes out of the sky. Nobody saw those planes coming to the trade towers, and we're watching live as the second one hits. People were just dumbfounded. So I think this big net we cast for national security has cost us a lot of freedoms, but unfortunately, you can't have one without the other.
Guys, we have a caller. Caller 805. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, am I on?
Yep, you're on.
Oh, hey. I didn't hear. Okay, yeah, I heard Chase before in another program. Hi, Chase. How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. I can't believe that I actually got through to talk to you because last time I heard you, you were telling the people about a triangular UFO that you had seen in a cornfield, and it just blew me away because I saw a triangular UFO in a cornfield.
Are you
Actually,
serious?
I'm totally serious, but the really neat thing about it is prior to seeing the triangular UFO, a friend and me were up in a treehouse up in like right next to the Missouri River, and we saw like a little cigar-shaped UFO, and it was jacking back and forth hundreds of feet, and we knew right away, that's not a plane. And it started emitting a little gas or something, orange gas from it, and it slowed down because it heard me. I started yelling at it, because my first instinct was to get its attention, knowing that it wasn't a plane, that it was probably intelligently controlled, obviously. And it slowed down and went into a kind of a drift, and it turned all its lights off, and you could hear this stuff spraying out of it. And anyway, long story short, that UFO was definitely strange because at one point I was yelling at it so loudly to get it to come over closer to us after a little beam of light came out of the bottom of it and started like it was scanning. And and then it all of a sudden it stopped on a dime, turned like a spotlight on us. And as soon as it did that, I got this like mental picture, and I'm not joking, of like four beings on board, one with kind of like a little smirk on its little mouth, bulbous head, big eyes. The first one said, "Oh, so you'd like to come aboard, possibly chopped into 1,000 different pieces, possibly put back together and possibly sent on your way? We can do that." And it's almost like I got them irritated because I was yelling and I got their attention and I disturbed their whatever they were doing, and they were being sarcastic with me, and I, in a mean way, and I jumped out of about a 30-foot treehouse along with my friend because I got a complete visual picture of it. And then we ran to his VW, got in it, took off. We didn't want any part of that thing. And we were driving down this dirt road, farmland, country land, actually mowed down corn. There was no corn, but it normally would be a cornfield. And he wanted to stop and get another look at this thing. And I'm like, no, don't do it, man. I got a really bad, aura from that thing. I actually saw something in my head, and it scared the living daylights out of me. He said, no, I'm going to get another look. So he stops a VW, and he says, I'm going to try anyway. And he gets up on this little 10-foot like plateau where the farm field was, and they walked down in, and I said, well, I'm not going to sit here in the car alone. I'm scared out of my wits right now. So I think I'd be better off near somebody. So I went and kind of tailed after him, and he was just standing in this mowed down field, tilled field, and we just stood there for about 5 minutes. I said, okay, come on, nothing's here, let's go. And all of a sudden the black dot started to, just like, kind of like what you were talking about on your description, started getting closer. As it got closer, this is another vehicle altogether. As it got closer, a farm light from a farmhouse lit up kind of the bottom of it, and you could see a perfect equilateral soft edge triangle with kind of a pearl gray bottom to it. And you could see what seemed to be, it looked like a space plane. You could see a canopy just off the top of it. And for some reason or other, it had a little red light on the bottom of it. No white lights like I think you described on the corners. But it wasn't really gigantic. This one was only about 145 feet in circumference. And it was only about 100 feet above us. When it went over us, there was no sound, but nevertheless, and no wind. There was no wind coming off of it or in the air, yet it was shaking the limbs of the trees that it was going over, and the leaves were falling out because it was October. The dried leaves were falling out, and but there was no wind hitting us at all, and it was like only about 100 feet above us, And anyway, Chase, when you told your story, it blew me away because I was like, you know what? I had a similar experience, smaller triangular object, I believe. I think yours was larger, was it not?
Yeah, mine was huge. I have two questions. First, what is your name?
Yeah, my name is Tony.
Okay, I was just going to say just your first name. It's thanks for calling, Tony. This was a remarkable story. I loved it. And second, when was this?
This was in 1986, October of 1986. And
wow.
to make this really, really unbelievable, and I'm not going out on a limb doing this, I'm just telling you the bullseye truth. The next day, my friend said, do you want to go back out there? I said, no, why would I go out there in the broad daylight? Nobody sees UFOs in the broad daylight. We only saw 2 in one night. I'm good to go. I'm not going to go out there. So he goes out there in broad daylight, and he comes back shaking like a leaf and tells me it was totally combing. There was military combing the entire place. There were helicopters flying around. It was cordoned off. They called to his vehicle with a blowhorn and told him to cut his engine when he drove up in the area. And he was debriefed as if, he did something wrong for like 2 hours. They basically threatened his life and told him not to talk about the incident. They said what his name was without him pulling his wallet out or telling who he was. They knew everything about him, and they go, oh, by the way, that guy Tony that you were with, tell him the same thing.
Dang. Have you guys ever gone on the record and reported this anywhere?
That guy and his entire family was excommunicated from their house. I found out when he came and told me about this broad daylight situation that his dad, he said, oh, by the way, after he told me all this and, don't talk about it, he says, my dad's a full bird colonel. And that's all I can say. And then he walked away. I never saw him again. Tried to go over to his house. His entire house was basically empty, no lights on for weeks. So I just assumed he moved. I asked the neighbors across the street, hey, what happened to David? And they go, who? And they acted like they didn't know who I was talking about, which was completely weird because they know exactly who I was talking about. And I know that
Tony?
for a fact.
Hey, Tony. Yeah. Where did this happen?
This happened off the Missouri River about, I would say about 80 miles outside of St. Louis.
Oh, south of St. Louis?
Actually, it was off the Missouri River. I think it was north St. Louis, if my geography's right.
Okay.
It's not,
Okay.
yeah. And so anyway, that guy disappeared, my friend David, that is, never to be seen again.
Whoa.
And his entire family as well.
Oh, wow. Tony, you so need to email me, and I put my email in chat just so it's an easy reference for you, the Skype chat that we're all part of this conversation. But it's Chase and as in Nancy P at yahoo.com. Like, I would love to hear more and maybe get some more details for sure.
Yeah, well, I gave you pretty much all the details. I'm not really one to do too much stuff on the computer. I know that sounds kind of ironic in this day and age, but I love getting on talk radio shows when there's a ufologist and just telling my story when multiple people are listening because they need to hear it.
Awesome. Well,
Thanks, Tony. Yeah, thanks for coming on, Tony.
Come forward. Hey, Chase, let me ask you, your encounter with the triangle, was it similar? I know you made several reference to what happened with you.
yeah, there are similarities, not so much the craft as such or, the size of it, but there was a lot of similarity. And, when he said that, when he felt as though the beings were contacting him, it was, through more of a telepathy type of thing, or the fact that he saw them. He could hear them. There was an image. There
Right.
was, I've often wondered if that's how the fear hit us, and if that being. Now, I remember literally seeing it, dead to rights. It was there. I know what I saw. However, I don't know if it was flesh and blood. Is it mechanical? Was it a hologram? I wouldn't say
Right.
it was with the holograms that we know, where you kind of see through them and they're a little sketchy and skip a little.
We're fully capable of creating holograms now.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
yes,
the
entertainment.
technology, right. And so, I can visualize a technology where they, beam a light source, not necessarily visible, but it creates a hologram in front of you. I mean, I think that's very doable, and I'm not so sure we can't do it now.
But I think what he experienced was more of it's a mental telepathy. It was more that the image
Right.
was, embedded in him, which is what I suspect that fear was put into us. That fear was artificial. There was nobody in that cornfield ready to run. We did not run from an alien. We were already running when we saw it. In fact, half the people running never even knew it was there.
Well,
Something I didn't know for 2 weeks.
And didn't some equipment was left behind, right? I mean, you guys abandoned
it.
posts for a reason that was hard to define, right?
Dude, we were running like friggin' scared little girls. We didn't think of anything. And I can tell you that there was just no thought. We did what we were supposed to do. There was no conscious thought about it at all. But, so I think what I loved and found most compelling about his story and his report was literally the way he experienced his contact with other beings. That I just found that very intriguing because that's probably, although not exact, probably the biggest similarity in our stories, other than the triangle. And the sightings of other craft before this triangle came, and then he's got beings, and it's like, gonna solve this one day.
It was he made a statement about watching the leaves and the branches. It was in the fall of the year, and they were shaking. And I visualized this craft coming over and seeing electromagnetic energy.
Yes.
I don't know, that's what popped into my mind. What he was describing was possibility. I wanted to ask him, and I didn't. And maybe if you have contact with him in the future, is that did they feel any? Like ants. I've heard other people say it felt like there was tiny ants crawling all over their body when the craft went over.
Yes,
like they had static electricity type.
Hey, Ken and Chase, let's take a. We did miss our break at 9:30, but let's take a break. You're listening to Paying Radio on the Inception Radio Network. Tonight we have on Chase Kloetzke, and we're talking about everything under the sun, UFOs, and we're going to get into some Peru action too here. So hang in there, folks.
Hello, Inception Radio Network listeners. This is Amanda. Remember, you can take your Inception Radio shows on the go. Just download the Inception Radio Network app for your iPhone, iPad, or Android smartphones and access live shows, past shows, guest lineups, and much more. Just visit the iTunes Store or the Google Play Marketplace and download it today for free.
Hello, everyone. Lorian Fenton here, host of the California MUFON radio show, asking if you'd like special access to exclusive and amazing information about UFOs, the paranormal, and all things unexplained. If you're nodding yes, then join IRN's Insider Club. As an Insider Club member, you'll get an all-access pass to premier Inception Radio Network content for only $4.99 a month. This includes live UFO and paranormal conferences, live streaming UFO skywatches, exclusive IRN radio and TV productions, and of course, paying radio with MJ and Ken Storch. So don't wait any longer. Visit InceptionRadioNetwork.com and click on Member Login to join IRN's Insider Club and get your VIP access today.
Howdy, this is Joe Mars. I'm inviting you to tune in to Epic Voyages, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, Monday nights, right here on Inception Radio Network. To find out more about Epic and how you can become a member, visit epicvoyagers.com. That's EPICVOYAGERS.com.
People, the way things are going, we need a simple, efficient way to keep track of our personal income and expenses. Make the discovery. My Home Accounting is your easy-to-use and learn bookkeeping program. It works with Windows XP, Windows 7 or 8 on your desktop or laptop. Download your no-risk trial copy today from our website at www.myhomeaccounting.ca. And remember, 100% of all sales revenue goes to the Canadian National Institute for the Blind, a registered charity. Again, our website is www.myhomeaccounting.ca.
Tous les dimanches à 21h Eastern, uniquement sur Inception Radio Network.
You're locked into Inception Radio Network, Superior, Wisconsin.
Welcome back to Paying Radio. Tonight we have on Chase Kloetzke. We're talking about Bigfoot, ufology. We're going to talk about her trip to Peru. She's done many investigations this year. She's been really busy, but we're first going to get to the chat question from Bill from New York. Bill wants to know, have there been any reports of UFOs associated with sightings of Bigfoot, and could Bigfoot be a dimensional creature? What are your thoughts, Chase?
Absolutely. In fact, that's one of the reasons I even got involved in looking for Bigfoot and studying the phenomena and, diving deeper, was because almost every time you take a report of Bigfoot, if you dig a little deeper, and, most investigators are going to ask these questions before and after, and you usually find out that there's often sightings of strange lights and things they can't explain that would be more of a UFO type phenomena associated with Bigfoot. And I just absolutely, and I don't want it to be, guys, but I am convinced they're dimensional. Absolutely. It's a dimensional type existence, crossing over, getting here, what they're doing here. Absolutely. I think all the evidence points that way when you hear tens of thousands of people report.
Chase.
Yes?
To listen to the rest of this interview, please go to InceptionRadioNetwork.com and register for the Insiders Club. What is the Insiders Club? The Insiders Club is our premium content, what you've just listened to. Now, what you've just listened to is a preview of that premium content. The Insiders Club is how we pay the bills. It's how you support IRN. You join forces with IRN to get the truth out there. Now, a lot of our content is free. I mean, most of our content is free. All of our live shows are free. If you go to our archives, the vast majority of our archives are for free. But to pay the bills, to help make sure this network stays alive, stays viable, we offer those who really love our radio station, our network, and our shows an ability to support our network and become a part of IRN. Actually join forces in helping us get the truth out there. Now, how do you do this again? You go to InceptionRadioNetwork.com and you subscribe for the Insiders Club, and you'll have access to all of our archives, including this show, the rest of the show. A faster way of getting there, go to the description below this video and click on the link. And like I said, you'll be joining forces with IRN. You'll have availability of all of our content, and we really appreciate your support. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Lorian Fenton here, host of the California MUFON radio show, asking if you'd like special access to exclusive and amazing information about UFOs, the paranormal, and all things unexplained. If you're nodding yes, then join IRN's Insider Club. As an Insider Club member, you'll get an all-access pass to premier Inception Radio Network content for only $4.99 a month. This includes live UFO and paranormal conferences, live streaming UFO skywatches, exclusive IRN radio and TV productions, and of course, paying radio with MJ and Ken Storch. So don't wait any longer. Visit InceptionRadioNetwork.com and click on Member Login to join IRN's Insider Club and get your VIP access today.
To listen to the rest of this interview, please go to InceptionRadioNetwork.com and register for the Insiders Club. What is the Insiders Club? The Insiders Club is our premium content, what you've just listened to. Now, what you've just listened to is a preview of that premium content. The Insiders Club is how we pay the bills. It's how you support IRN. You join forces with IRN to get the truth out there. Now, a lot of our content is free. I mean, most of our content is free. All of our live shows are free. If you go to our archives, the vast majority of our archives are for free. But to pay the bills, to help make sure this network stays alive, stays viable, we offer those who really love our radio station, our network, and our shows an ability to support our network and become a part of IRN. Actually join forces in helping us get the truth out there. Now, how do you do this again? You go to InceptionRadioNetwork.com and you subscribe for the Insiders Club, and you'll have access to all of our archives, including this show, the rest of the show. A faster way of getting there, go to the description below this video and click on the link. And like I said, you'll be joining forces with IRN. You'll have availability of all of our content, and we really appreciate your support. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Lorian Fenton here, host of the California MUFON radio show, asking if you'd like special access to exclusive and amazing information about UFOs, the paranormal, and all things unexplained. If you're nodding yes, then join IRN's Insider Club. As an Insider Club member, you'll get an all-access pass to premier Inception Radio Network content for only $4.99 a month. This includes live UFO and paranormal conferences, live streaming UFO skywatches, exclusive IRN radio and TV productions, and of course, paying radio with MJ and Ken Storch. So don't wait any longer. Visit InceptionRadioNetwork.com and click on Member Login to join IRN's Insider Club and get your VIP access today.
To listen to the rest of this interview, please go to InceptionRadioNetwork.com and register for the Insiders Club. What is the Insiders Club? The Insiders Club is our premium content, what you've just listened to. Now, what you've just listened to is a preview of that premium content. The Insiders Club is how we pay the bills. It's how you support IRN. You join forces with IRN to get the truth out there. Now, a lot of our content is free. I mean, most of our content is free. All of our live shows are free. If you go to our archives, the vast majority of our archives are for free. But to pay the bills, to help make sure this network stays alive, stays viable, we offer those who really love our radio station, our network, and our shows an ability to support our network and become a part of IRN. Actually join forces in helping us get the truth out there. Now, how do you do this again? You go to InceptionRadioNetwork.com and you subscribe for the Insiders Club, and you'll have access to all of our archives, including this show, the rest of the show. A faster way of getting there, go to the description below this video and click on the link. And like I said, you'll be joining forces with IRN. You'll have availability of all of our content, and we really appreciate your support. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Lorian Fenton here, host of the California MUFON radio show, asking if you'd like special access to exclusive and amazing information about UFOs, the paranormal, and all things unexplained. If you're nodding yes, then join IRN's Insider Club. As an Insider Club member, you'll get an all-access pass to premier Inception Radio Network content for only $4.99 a month. This includes live UFO and paranormal conferences, live streaming UFO skywatches, exclusive IRN radio and TV productions, and of course, paying radio with MJ and Ken Storch. So don't wait any longer. Visit InceptionRadioNetwork.com and click on Member Login to join IRN's Insider Club and get your VIP access today.